Shalom, this is Brandon Moore coming to you again, bringing up the gospel of truth to edify the hopefully lack of diaspora of Israel, so-called Blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos. To one or two-thirds of our people of the impending judgment of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to bring upon great Babylon, America. And it's always a pleasure to let Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, know that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to destroy your oppressing, lying, pedophilia, child molesting, rapist ass real soon. Before we get started, to give all glory and honor to Yahweh by Tim Yahweh Shai by Tim Rakadat. Double honor to teachers, elders, and also a great millstone like wise brothers out there putting on the truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding sheep and the brothers and sisters doing it. Shalom. All right. So today is Easter Sunday, right? So we're still in the Passover. Okay. And today you have, and I don't know if any of you have gotten a text, okay? Happy Easter. Okay. And in the minds of people, okay, even these Christians, they're not thinking in terms of what their so-called white Jesus, did for them as far as, sacrificing himself for them. They feel entitled, like, yeah, he was supposed to do that. He don't feel any pain. He was supposed to do that. So they're not grateful, okay, and they show their gratitude, okay, to who the world really call Jesus Christ, who we know as Yahweh Shai, by replacing his image or replacing him with a bunny rabbit that supposedly lay eggs. Tell me, we are not under the rulership of a very of a child, okay? And the so-called white man is a child, okay? Now you probably saying to yourself, well, they got everything. They got nukes. They got they got the buildings. They got the land and all that stuff. Well, they were given that. In fact, let's go into the scripture and let's talk about how the white man got to the spot where he's at right now, because it wasn't about how great he is. It's about the fact that he was given an opportunity to be on this earth to rule so that he can bring out so all the things that the Lord Yahweh Shemi Shai wants, okay, to happen is going to happen. In fact, let's go to the book of Daniel 4 and 17. It reads, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of man and giveth it to whosoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of man. Who is the basis of man? It is none other than Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man. Okay, the so-called white man. So why do people, you're thinking to yourself, okay, man, this man is so great, he's seen to have it all. Okay, this man is the basis of man. When you understand the word base, and we've brought out many videos concerning base, the basis of man. Okay, 18 tribes were created. Okay, and in this last time right now, before Yahushua returns, what you have is the righteous, okay, which is the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, okay, from the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, who are being currently oppressed right now by the wicked, okay, the sons and daughters of the wicked, which is the Edomites. So this is Esau, the Edomite, the father of the Edomites, and Jacob, okay, the father of the Hebrew Israelite, okay, who are the 12 sons. Okay, so you have good, the Hebrew Israelite versus evil, which is the Edomites, the so-called white people. They're evil. Again, the good people are the 12 tribe of Israel, which is the so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos and Hispanic. Okay, so if your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are good, you are righteous, you are the son and daughters of the righteous. If your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, okay, you're the sons and daughters of the wicked. You are an abased being, okay, and a base being, okay. But so these people have enjoyed, going around where everything right is white, okay, everything intelligent, okay, is so-called white, okay. And this is the reason why, in fact, let me share another thing here for you right now, because you probably know about the Artemis rocket that's going out there, and supposedly they're going to be going to the moon. Okay, and it's just like laughable because we know that Esau has never been to the moon. Okay, and bottom line is, let's see if I can actually share it. This MSN.com is crap. But most of you already know it anyways. Let's just keep it to the screen here. Okay. we know that this man, he likes to exalt himself, okay, through his lies, okay, and his sorcery. And our people, being astray, okay, looking for any other God other than the true power, Yahweh Shema Shai, is going to believe everything that comes out of this man's mouth. Okay. And they forget the lies that they talk about because they say that they've been in the moon, they've been to the moon in the 60s, yet still now they're saying this is gonna be the first time they're going around as close as they can get to the moon. But wait a minute, that makes no sense. You're saying now you're gonna get as close to the moon as possible in the history of mankind, but I thought you landed on the moon, I think it was what, 1969. Wouldn't that make it close? That would be your ground, your footprint and a flag there. So you can see, okay, if you're awake and paying attention, you can see, okay, why the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai hate this man so much. In fact, let's go into the book of Job 30. Okay, let's go into the book of Job 30, and let's talk about who these people really are. Because it's our job to always remind you, okay, of who you trying to idolize and worship. Because these, you Jakes out there, you so looking for someone that you could worship. Okay, this is Job 13, Star Wars 5. In fact, yes, let's go to Star Wars 5. It says, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. But you saw the Edomites, so-called white people are thieves. They're natural thieves. They steal everything. They'll steal your identity, they'll steal your culture, everything, and then they'll relabel everything, and then try to come up with this copyright and what they call intellectual property, these flashy words like that, and they use those in their court system. Okay. And we know how they utilize, how they strategize in their stealing. They go to these countries and act like they're missionaries or they're trying to help the people there, but in fact, they're using the people as human guinea pigs, so to speak, to experiment on their drugs to see what the reaction would be. Okay, so they can endorse it for their pharmaceutical companies, right? The other thing is that they go over there to satisfy their perversion, okay, their sexual perversion, okay, and nobody notices because in these other nations, people will sell their kids for that petrodollar, okay, and don't think for once, because we know the history of this cracker and how what he did to the children of Israel, coming up doing the Atlantic uh, slave trade, okay, the man at the bottom like packed like sardines, and the women and the children on top, and you can imagine what they was doing. A lot of Eve came over to America having little cracker babies, okay, half cracker babies, okay, Edomites, okay, and those children right now, y'all wonder why you said nigger, okay, or nigger. When I say nigger, I'm talking about so-called Black, Native American, and Latinos and Hispanics. So wicked, and I'm talking male and female. Y'all wonder why some of our women look so wicked, are so wicked. Okay, they look like Black women. It's because they probably their sea line or their heritage goes back to Esau. Okay, and they have those demons in there. So they all the time when you see what look like a so-called Black man or Black woman doing something excessively wicked, you go, damn, our people are wicked. Some of those are those are Edomites. A lot of those are Edomites. Okay, just like how you could have Edomites. Okay, just like how you could have Jakes who can look like an Edomite. You have the same exact thing too. So that's food for thoughts there. Don't know, it has to be for both sides. It says to dwell in the cliffs of the valley in caves of the earth and in the rocks. So the cave people, okay, they did a real Neanderthal, okay, or the Cro-Magnon man. Among the bushes, they brayed under the nettles. They gathered together. So they was making them all sounds like okay. You think when they making that Geico joke like it's so easy a caveman can do it. They talking about themselves, man. They know who they are. They got the archives. The people who the elites know who they are and they know who we are. Okay? They know who we are. They are great fear right now. I put up a video earlier this week concerning the fact that the people that they fear the most, okay, it's a righteous man that is waking up. They don't fear Pookie and Ray Ray and these fake so-called gangster guys singing their rap music like that. We already know those dudes are full of shit. They soft like doggone a melted butterscotch, man. All right. What they're afraid of is man like us who have the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai in us. So one, we don't give a crap about your society. Two, we ain't afraid to lose what we got. Three, we ain't afraid to lose our life. And we haven't had the guillotine put on our neck yet, but we pray to Yahweh Shema that we walk to that laughing. Because what comes next? Our true form, which is of God. Okay? There's no loss to it. And that's the real fear that what they have is the fact that we stand up boldly, no matter what they do to discourage us or try to tie us up. We go and we make lessons. We let our people know who they really are, who our true power is. Okay, the message from Yahweh Bashim Shai is what? To repent, trust in Him, not in the so-called white man, not in the creature that is the basis of man that He put up in rulership. All right, continuing it says, among the bushes they brayed, under the nestle they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yet children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Okay, meaning what? Okay, they walk around naked. They don't bathe. All right, and they're uncivilized. Okay, they're uncivilized, and this is speaking about these people. Okay, that pride themselves. Okay, in their ability to go wherever they want to go. The carpet is open for them. But what you find out right now is that's being changed pursuant to Deuteronomy 30:7. Okay, where the curses are now coming on them. Never in my life I thought I would see crackers on a screen crying about like they can't make ends meet and all this other craziness and all that stuff. And you have these companies that are laying off so many of them because they don't qualify for the positions that they're in. These people have never known what loss is all about. And I tell you, Jake Stem, listen up very carefully. Don't let these people roll up to you, okay, and use you to try to save themselves, which they're going to come and they're going to try to play on your emotion that, oh, you know what it's like to be oppressed. You know what it's like to not have a job. You know what it's like to can't pay your bills and all that stuff. Okay, we do. And what do you want? You mean to pay yours with what? All right. See, they can see because misery like company, and then what they're gonna do is they're gonna try to play on your because see, because we are naturally emotional, soft people. We're the righteous. Okay, so we have compassion. We have something that these Edomites don't have. They have compassion. Okay, and you Jakes, some of you Jakes, men out there, and you women might have had an experience where you put yourself out there for a doggone Edomite only for them to just show you their true colors are the fact that all they think about you is you just a nigger for them to use, at their discretion. All right. Don't be that Jake out there like that trying to save a cracker. All right. And that goes to all these other tribes out there. Let the Lord Yahweh Shemashah judge them accordingly. They deserve exactly what they're going to get. In fact, let's go into the book of Psalms 64. I'm going to bring it up, 64, and starting with verse 2 here. And let's talk about the fact that Yahweh Shemashah have a great judgment, okay, that he's going to be bringing, okay, on these people. In fact, let me bring it up here. This is book of Psalms 64, and starting with verse 2. Okay, it reads, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, talking about these Edomites, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And so the man has a way of lying. Okay, he has a way of lying. He has a way of corrupting our image to making us look like we are the most wickedest and evilest thing on this earth. Okay, and the Lord is doing a beautiful job with how He's exposing, okay, these people, the same people who make all the laws and legislation. I'm going to do this and do that and try to crush us are in fact crushing their own people, and we're going to see how this is going to turn very, very nasty, which is exactly what these elites want. They want to see that chaos. They want to see that so-called race war. They want to see that that they want to see Jake get up to that point of hatred, the way he goes and he really start putting hands on these doggone Edomites. And they're not going to do anything to save them. See, they're really trying to provoke Jake to that. And they're going to get just that. 2/3 are going to go in that direction. Okay. And it's going to be a nightmare for them, but it's also going to be, okay, the start of that purge of the children of Israel, the 2/3 of the Lord Yahweh Shema God. Okay, it's going to do. Continuing, it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, suddenly do they shoot at them and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter, they commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Who shall see them? Well, the Lord put the spirit inside the man, a certain man, to see that. Okay, starting from the man who taught the elders, the elder apostles, and the elder brothers them. Okay, all the way down to brothers like myself, and who go out there and do my best with what I've got, what I've been given by Yahweh Shai, to go and bring out the edification out there, and maybe, and Lord willing, okay, somebody life changes the same way. An elder brother who put the work out there, and I diligently watched, took notes and stuff for years before I myself got on the street. Okay, roughly paraphrasing what the Mashiach said. Okay, the labor is great, but the help is few. Okay, so we are not to take this and just sit and put it under the pillow and just go, yeah, I know it, but I don't want to go there and put myself out there. No, man, you should be happy to get out there and put yourself out there. What do you have? What do you have to lose? Nothing. You have all to gain. We have all to gain. We have all to gain. You can't, Jake, what else you want to, how further you want to get beat down? We ain't no reputation, so what are you trying to save? Reputation? Who cares what they think? Huh? Who cares what the hell people think? Who cares what the goop think? Who cares what the chink thinks? Who cares what the crockers think? Who cares what them freaking doggone desert monkey things? What they call them Arabs? Who gives a shit what them damn piss, shit eating, drinking Hamites, or they call them Africans think? We don't care what they think. The only thing that should matter to you, or who think of you right, is Yahweh Shai. Because at the end of the day, as it says, many are called, few are chosen. Our goal and our hope and our desire is to be one that make it true. In fact, I'm going to bring a lesson about that, Lord willing, tomorrow, concerning that. I was watching the camp with the brothers out there in Alabama, and he mentioned something about that towards the end of that camp, where he talked about, our desire really is to be chosen. Okay, at the end of the day, that's our great fear is to be not to. You don't want to be rejected. Okay, you don't want to be rejected. Continue says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. So of course they trying to figure out how everything was created. How was this done? How they build it. But the Lord gave them all the tools to go there and go build a CERN and the experimental drugs that they have out there, and all the things that they're doing. Okay, that people are looking and wondering in amazement. Okay, but it says, but power shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded, okay, so that they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, okay? Now, you're seeing that happening as we speak right now, okay? We're seeing that happening right now. Their tongues are falling on them. I put out a video yesterday concerning Iran, doing a rap video or the Lego, where they talk about Pete had said they brought out the fact that, he was an adulterer and all the other stuff like that. And the fact that he's just not Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense material, and he isn't. Okay, and bottom line is that Trump is picking people that he can control, people who is his best friend and not qualified people. Yes, though they got the nerve to talk about DEI, and that's fine. That's fine. The Lord is going to provide for His men, okay, who in turn will provide for their families. Okay. But for those out there who are looking to trying to change this man's mind in regards to what he think of the children of Israel, okay, you're wasting your time. Okay. You are absolutely wasting your time. And this is why, when you look at Psalm 64, we're talking about we were looking for protection from Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay. We are asking Yahweh Shem Shai. We're asking the Most High, okay, for protection from him. For protection from him. Okay? Because at the end of the day, who brings out the judgment? Okay? The Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, brings it out. He uses man to execute what he's going to go do. Okay? And yet Esau is going to be the one swinging that sword at us, or in whatever ways he's going to do, whether it's going to be, to the modern day weapon or to his biological assets that he has. All right? And they have these little tiny drones. I saw one brother put it up in the video. And I shared that video concerning this little drone. It's probably, let me see if I can have something here. I think the drone is probably, okay, the size of this little floss thing here. Okay, that can fly. It comes to your forehead and it can actually put a bullet, okay, in your forehead and kill you. Now, you would probably think it was a mosquito that's flying around you, and it just, boom. And this thing can see day and night. So you can imagine a lot of these things are flying around at nighttime and it has a target. Okay, and the target is who? The Hebrew Israelites. Okay, Jake, we cannot begin to emphasize to you how much this man hates you. In fact, let's go into Jeremiah 23 and 32. We go into the book of Jeremiah 23. Uh, book of Jeremiah 23 and 30, uh, 32. And I'll share the screen with you, of course, with the verse, so that you could see it. Uh, let's bring it up and share. Okay, so this is the book of Jeremiah 23 and 32. And it reads, Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, said the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies. Now, when you think about who this could refer to, the only you see the camps out there today. I like to refer to them as the purple dinosaur or the purple or the Barney crew marching down the street in cadence and stuff like that, which is like so laughable, and everything they do is actually to be seen of men. There's nothing to it's not done for to glorify Yahweh Shai. In fact, they don't even call on the true name. They use Jesus Christ. What is it? Who I'm talking about? IUIC. Or what is it? Israel United in Christ, something like that. Israel United in something like that. Israel United in Christ. All right. And that shouldn't be Israel United under Yahweh Shai. Okay, that's how it should be if they really was all about that. But they're not. So these are guys that have been bought. Okay. They spend more time exalting themselves than exalting Yahweh Bashim Shai, exalting the Mashiach. Okay, right now we're in the week of the Passover. Okay, you think about it now. Keep in mind that the Mashiach came down in flesh, just like us. He could feel, he had to eat. He basically was a human, he was made flesh. And there's a scripture that talks about that. And he was the ultimate sacrifice. So he had emotions too. Okay, imagine 33 years old. I remember when I was 33 years old. Some of you know you might be 33 years old, but you gotta die in a most horrible way. You gotta get beat down, spit down, and crucifixions is far worse than them doggone pacified. I think it was Mel Gibson that was trying to show exactly how it looked. And they had it, the finished product of what he did in the movie, The Passion of the Christ. And that was the most brutal one I've ever seen. He actually had to scale that down for them to release that. They did not want the way he wanted to do it, because he did a research into it and what crucifixion was all about. They would not release it. Okay, because most up until them Jesus of Nazarene movies and shit like that, they were all like G-rated, this goody crap, and they just showed a little thing they whip. No. What Yahushua went through, it was an absolute nightmare, and he was in the flesh. And these guys going on there, let's read it. It says, "Behold, I'm against it, and I prophesy false dream, talking about this place is going to continue. Give me your money. Give me 20% of your income." Here, these people can barely eat, pay their bill. These guys have access to people's bank account. And the Lord put the spirit in you doggone fools so there to give it to them. Okay? To give it to them. Because y'all want to please man. All right? Y'all want to be a part of something, accepted into something. No, the only acceptance you need to be is accepted by Yahweh Shem Shai. Everybody else doesn't matter. Nobody on this earth can save you. Okay? Continuing, it says, said the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, do tell them, of course, my people to err by their lies and by their likeness, yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore, they should not profit this people at all, said the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai. Now, when you think the word profit, okay, it's not talking about profit like a prophet, but profit, Profit. When you invest into something, you expect to get a profit, all right? You expect to get a profit. Now, keep in mind, we've all been given, okay, a particular portion, all right, in the way to go out there and teach. And the Lord, there's diversity. You get brothers that can make AI videos. You get brothers who can do movie-like type. You get brothers who are very good at going deep into the news and all that stuff, and they're photogenic and they know how to talk and have voice inflection on the camera. Okay, and you get brothers who don't like to go on the camera unless they actually have to, and like to be behind the scene. But nonetheless, okay, we all have a different personalities. We all go there and we bring it out to the best we can. Some people have high views, others don't get hardly any. Okay, and that's okay. We're still doing the work. All right, because there's going to come a time when the family of the work comes that people are going to be looking around for anybody other than the lion Edomite, okay, leaders to tell them the right thing. They're going to one day turn against these guys. So these guys are making likeness of it. They're going to be riding on a horse. They're keeping the Passover as if it's like some doggone, like it's a Grammys or something like that, or an after party, Grammys after party or something like that. They're not in the house of Solomon. Okay. I think it was a brother Zan who did a video or a lesson a few days ago. Okay, and he was saying basically he can remember the last time he was happy. I think the title of the video was something like Esau's taking the mirth from him or something like that. But he can remember. That's a lot of us. You can't remember the last time you could say, "Man, I had a really good time." You go through it. You do what you have to do with your family. Okay, and if you have friends, you do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, you're not. Before you came into this, when you was in the world, man, you had a good time. It didn't matter if you had $1 or $2 in your pocket. You had a good time because why? There was no rules. You could eat whatever you want to eat, do whatever the hell you want to do. You could live with all you could try to live out your fantasies if you had any. Okay, and everybody around you was just like you. Okay, blind, and that was the most fun. But people in see that's a problem with our people. Our people don't want to get out of that. They don't want to leave that behind because see when you come into the truth, you're not going to have that world friendly happiness. Okay. You just never going to. I can never look at the Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man and go, that's my friend. I trust that man. Ever. I don't. From the leaders that I can see on television to the everyday Edomite walking past me with their proud ass looking down at me. How the hell you are the base of man, but get the nerve to look down at a God in exile, which is exactly what we are. Okay. We're gods in exile, stripped of our power, walking in this flesh. And that's not something for any of you moronic, okay, unbelievers who want to go make videos and come up against the ministry. Okay, that's not for you. That's way above your doggone your mental pay grade, so to speak. All right, that is only for the elect. But you can see here, if you want to believe in lies, then you're going to believe in lies. Okay, because these guys are there that are pushing this out, and it ain't only IUIC. Okay, but they're the biggest and most well-known one, and they're gonna get exactly what they deserve, especially the leaders them. Okay, out there with their megaphone and disturbing the peace and all of that stuff. The Lord is gonna make an example of them. Okay, because a lot of them are doing it intentionally, although there might be brothers in that may be for real. Now let's talk about who really runs shit. Because look here, Esau don't run anything. Okay, Esau's on borrowed time. Okay, as one of the brothers and put up there. Okay, this man, we have all the time. This man is running out of time right now, and he's demonstrated, okay, that he don't have no patient right now. He has demonstrated that. So he's gonna come out, you know, not so friendly as he had done before. Let's go into Deuteronomy 10, Psalms 14 reads, Behold, the heavens and the heavens of heavens is the Lord, Jehovah Shemel Shai, thy power, the earth also, with all that therein is. I mean, from the bacteria that we can't see, okay, to the beautiful landscape, like the mountains and all that stuff that fetch millions of dollars, for people to go live on those. Okay, belongs to the Lord. How about me? I'll die. Okay. It says, Only the Lord Yahweh Shai had a delight in thy fathers who loved them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people as it is this day. This is where there's a problem with JXM. Imagine you've been told you ain't shit, you go and you march, that's been passed on to you, especially if you're in a household with coons, so to speak. Your the people that you look up to, the uncles and aunts, uncle, even your parents, worship the white man's image. They worship him, boy. Okay, so that you have a generation of lost soul. Okay, that basically don't believe that we can possibly be the Hebrew Israelite. And that's a problem with Jake's them. You you've been told, you've been identified, you've been revealed to be the chosen people of the Bible. When they make a movie and they have Charlton Heston as Moses, it's supposed to be a so-called black man, not a Middle Eastern man. See, our people accept a so-called Middle Eastern man like that. And hey, we go all over there too, man. We thought at least Middle Eastern. Deep down, we kind of knew, listen, a white boy, man, it can't be possible. These people can't even stand out in the sun. How is it possible that they could be out there like that for centuries? So you want to believe it's a Middle Eastern. You want to believe it's the Ethiopians. Okay? You don't believe all of that, except the evidence and the proof is in the Bible of the chosen people that will be in exile in a nation that they don't know, oppressed, okay, by a set of wicked people that have been given a great sword. Why would you want to believe that? Okay? And it's because Yahweh Shemashah don't want you to. All right? You can't accept being nothing more than just a so-called black man, so-called black woman, Latino woman, Hispanic man, Hispanic woman. And as long as you have a little roof over your head, a taco, or a freaking doggone pork sandwich in your doggone hand, you feel good about yourself. Oh, girl, I accomplished something. You know, you get a peasant mentality, not even a pet. You get below a peasant mentality. It's sickening. It is absolutely sickening. Continue on, it says, only the Lord Yahweh Shemashah had a light in thy fathers to love them, and he chose to seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Okay? So there it is right there. The Lord chose us. Okay? We are chosen above all people. We are. Okay? And y'all don't see, I've had an encounter with people, and I'm talking about people who are somewhat in society when I was out there in the Bay Area, known, a lot of money, well known, who told me, who asked me if I know who I really am. Okay, and I'm not going to reveal this person's identity, but it was a who of who up there in that society and stuff. And he said they all know who we are, and they can't believe our people are so ignorant to the fact that we are the chosen holy people. All right, we are the chosen holy people. But at that time when he asked me that, I already knew because I was already, I already knew. So I already knew that I was a Hebrew Israelite. I believe I was a Hebrew Israelite. So give me 1 second here. All right. So he wasn't saying something I didn't know or didn't believe. You know, I believed and I already knew. But what he was saying basically was the fact that our people are very comfortable being at the bottom. Okay. But apparently it's very popular amongst these are who we are, or these people who are in society. And I'm not talking about the Rothschilds and those people like that. I'm talking about people who are, prominent people in society and stuff like that. And that was so. So why would someone with that kind of caliber tell someone like me that? Hmm? And he could have read my spirit. He also saw I was wearing these. I happen to be wearing these on my hand, on my finger. So he kind of knew this. He knew that maybe this guy knew. All right, but that's how the Lord works. Like that. Sometimes the Lord will have someone like that come like that. Now I don't need a so-called white man to tell me that I'm the son. I'm the son of the living power Yahweh Shemashah. I don't. Okay. You know how I know? Not only was the spirit in me to accept it, but it was a man. It was man that looked just like me, not like me, so to speak. Much more handsome brothers. Okay, much more handsome brothers who put it out there. Know who we are, and I accepted it immediately. You kind of always knew you wasn't just what I'm saying. You kind of always knew something was up, just the way how things worked. That you was cursed. How is it that you have to answer to a dumb, stupid cracker who can barely read and write, but have titles like director, VP, and stuff like that, and you got to do their work for 1/3 their pay? Come on, how does that work? Tell me that's not. the curses under Deuteronomy 28. How does that work? Huh? How does that work? Okay. So let's go into Amos 5 here. And the lightness of the way these guys make things is because they lack fear. This is why you can have a guy like Bishop Nate go and, say you can call Yahushua anything. You can call the Most High anything. I mean, I can't even understand how somebody could have no fear like that. I don't even want to think that. And the biggest battle that we fight is in our head. I wake up every day to a battle in my head. Every single doggone day, I wake up to a battle in my head. I wake up to a battle in my head constantly. It's 7 days a week. A battle I fight in my mind all day, every day, all day, every day. I mean, shit you won't believe that pop up in your doggone head. And they've gotten incredibly strong. Okay? Because when you're occupied in this truth and you don't have other things that you're occupied in like that, you know, them spirits are gonna work on your mind to try to sway you away from this. Okay, sway you away from this. Why don't you just go there and go, go do shit? Why don't you go live your damn life, boy? Okay. Isn't this what you always wanted to have? You want to be, you know, in a position where you can go and go do certain things, that you've always wanted to do. Why don't you go there and go have a jolly good time, man? All right. And you have these things that pop up in your head in all kinds of ways and stuff. And you rebuke it. So to have a man that's actually going to just come out loud and say to possibly thousands or tens of thousands of people that he could influence to disrespect the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, by saying that it's not important of what his name is. It defies the mind. How you have no fear. I don't even like to have bad thoughts in my mind, but I can't help it. I can't stop it. Okay? So all I have to do is just pray to Yahweh Shemashai that he gets it out of my mind and that try to occupy my mind as much as possible, not to have idle time in my hand because it just leads to bad things. This is Amos 5, and I'm going to share the screen again with you, of course. This is Amos 5, and starting with verse 18, and it reads, "Woe unto them that decide the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, to what end is it for you? The day of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, is darkness and not light." Now, it is not one particular one day. We are in the day of the Lord right now. Job losses, the man cut the welfare for Eve. Okay, now you have a whole ton of Edomites now have to apply for welfare. So what do you think that's going to do to the system, to a system that's already, strapped for money? All they're doing is printing out money. So we know one day that inevitably this is gonna lead to a horrible end. Okay, that's gonna be shocking for a lot of people, but a lot of people right now they're kind of coming and turning to it because there was a certain percentage of people that needed to have help. Now you having people who are newly terminated or let go, or whatever the case is like that, as the Lord is bringing this place down, that have no choice after their so-called unemployment check runs out, have no choice but to go and turn to, these institutions or the government that's, providing these assistance. And there's a reason why they knew that. That's the reason why they came out and they already knew that a lot of Eve, them on welfare, didn't need to be on welfare. Okay, you literally have generational welfare amongst Eve, them, man. All right, and amongst these other tribes too. As brothers have brought out videos to show these Amalekites that are over here on welfare. Okay, but the face of welfare is Jakes. Okay, so-called Latinos, so-called Black women. But the majority of people on welfare are in fact Edomites, so-called white people. All right. And more of them are going to have to go and get that. They might feel shame about it at first, but they're going to swallow that pride, eat that humble pie just to be able to eat for now. But they're fuming, they're angry. Make no mistake about that, Jake. These people are very angry, and they're going to be looking for somebody to take that frustration and anger out on. And guess who that target is? Okay, the people that they can reach to and get their hands on. Okay, Jakes. Okay. This, take a look at, let's continue on. It says, "As if a man did flee from a lion and bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him, shall not the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shema, shall be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it. All right? No brightness in it. Okay. So the only brightness as is going to be, okay, is going to be the fact that we hope that we're the elect. Part of that is going to be we will escape a lot of these judgments. Okay, we're going to be able to eat. We're going to have divine protection on us. You could live in a community, especially if it's a nice community or a nice street, a lot of nice houses, or whatever the case like that. And they're going to be houses. Those houses are more likely to be targeted because we're going to assume the people have food or have resources. So they're going to be targeted, but they can be targeted, not yours. Okay, you could be out there and everybody's getting smashed down, thought up in the head, but you didn't. So we're in a time of great evil right now where you have this devil is going to unleash his wrath, okay, really upon the earth. And they're going for broke. Esau is going for broke, man. And you need to, Jakes, y'all need to understand that Esau is going for broke. The so-called white man is going for broke. He's not looking at having a tie game or negotiating or anything like that. And this is the proper time where, the Lord put it into the elite STEM mind to go and have the United States go and attack Iran and then have Iran, hey, and this is going to be limited. I suspect that this war is going to be limited in the infrastructure they use, and they're going to do a limited thing. But each time they do something like this, when you look at 9/11, a lot of things change after it. Prior to that, you never used to get feel up and molested at the airport. After that, you got molested at the airport. They'll feel you scan your dick, and your titties and shit, looking for contraband. They didn't do that before that. You could just take anything on the plane. All right. And there was a lot of laws that came into place after that. Who set it up? Okay. This doggone devil set all that up. 2020. Okay. They came up with that fake global epidemic or pandemic, I should say. Okay. And what came after that? A lot of things. A lot of losses came after that. In terms of companies, jobs, entrepreneurship, a whole lot of things. So products you can't even get anymore. So now they come only a few years later and start this war in Iran, and you already see the repercussion right now. So out here in El Paso, gas price is already now $4.25. That's huge. Now that might seem like a bargain in some place like California. And I lived out in California, for decades. So I already know that price structure, especially if you live up in the northern part of California, like around Silicon Valley area. All right. It's incredibly expensive. All right. So that would be a bargain. When I came out here, when I decided to move to Texas, I chose El Paso for a particular reason. I just like the fact that it was an isolated, small little place, and it suited my lifestyle or my lifestyle. Uh, but people were complaining about $2.55 gas, and I was just like, wow. And that was for premium gas. So of course, I put premium gas in my vehicle because I know I lived in a place where gas was like 3.75 for the low test. Okay, I was used to that, and that was a bargain at 3.75 a day in California. But now imagine how that's going to impact these states, where the gas price is at $4 and something cents, and it's in the states where you know the cost of living ain't supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. So Esau's going for broke, as I said. Okay, let's go into let's go into thing here. In fact, I actually want to show you. Let me see if I can bring it up. I'm going to try to bring up something here. Let's see if I can bring it up. Be able to bring it up. I wanted you because I wanted to show you guys this thing here. Uh, probably didn't down. Okay, I didn't download it. I was gonna bring something. There's something I want to show you all. I'm probably gonna bring it up in the lesson, Lord willing. Showing you this Jake who is the reason why you have to be circumspect when you walk around nowadays. Um, have your head on the swivel, Jake. Have your, especially with these Edomites. Jake's a little bit more confrontational, and a little obvious with their way they kind of would deal with you. They taunt you first. These Edomites, watch out for them. Watch out for them. Watch out for them, especially if you live in a place where there's a lot of these Edomites. Now, I live where they're mostly Hispanic and Latinos uh, out here, and even when I see Edomites, I'm very suspicious of them because especially the Edomite man I saw going by uh, our resident a couple of weeks ago. And of course I get suspicious when I see one. Because I know that the molesters, most I look and go, is this guy a registered sex offender? Okay, because the so-called white man is that he's basically you gotta just be careful, okay, with these Edomite nowadays because they're really feeling the stress and oppression from their own king, something that we've been used to dealing with our entire life, but they're not, and they're not going to be like Jake's. They're not going to hold their head. Okay. In fact, and this is here's a problem. Here's a problem with our people, man. You have a lot of our people are so wishy-washy. And I'm not understanding exactly why somebody wouldn't why you want to deal with a wishy-washy person. Yeah, it might be it might be elegant in the speech and seem powerful, which is like which is so laughable, which is so laughable. Look here, none of us have any power, okay? None of us have any power. You could be head of a camp. You could be, with 20 guys and that 30 guys. Who cares? You ain't got no power, man. Okay? Nobody, you don't have no damn power. In fact, let's go into First Corinthians here, because you see this mindset here, and this is really dealing with a lot of the cats out there that, are wishy-washy. Okay? It reads, this is First Corinthians 10 and 21. It reads, you cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. So you got to pick and choose which one. Okay. You got to pick and choose which one. Now, you can use the world, not abusing it, but at the same time, you can serve two masters. You're going to love one, hate one. Okay. So the true man of the Lord, we're always going to hate Esau. We're always going to hate Esau. Doesn't mean that we're going to, be reckless about it. You're not going to be reckless about it. But we're not gonna come here either and sugarcoat anything. It'd be pointless. Okay, it'd be pointless of doing a lesson if you're sugarcoating it. It'd be pointless of doing a camp if you stand up there to go sugarcoat stuff. We have to let it out how the way it is because the Lord is a terrible person. Okay, the Lord is terrible. The Lord is terrible. So bottom line is why would you want to fall into the hands of the Lord? In fact, let's go into Hebrews 10 and let's talk about that for a second. All right. It's a terrible thing because we are seeing judgments. I mean, and these judgments are like some really hardcore judgment. I think one of the brothers brought out, I think it was Azan who brought it out the other day, where this Eve, she got attacked by, four dogs. Four dogs attacked her, rip off the pieces, man, tear her right up. And she ended up going into the spirit world. Okay. She ended up going into the spirit world. But she was able to dwell on that for a little while. Like, why did it happen to me? Okay, we know the scripture says, "What nobody perish being innocent." Okay, this is Hebrews 10. I'll share the screen temporarily for this. Um, this is Hebrews 10 and 31. It reads, "It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power." And why is that? Why is it so terrible to fall into the hands of the living power? Because Yahweh Shemashai knows all our fear. He knows exactly what makes us tick. He knows exactly what makes us happy. He knows what makes us sad. And this is the reason why we have there's a balance of how we operate or how we in the world. The Lord doesn't suppress us or oppress us to the point to where you don't even want to get up out of bed. You don't want to do nothing. You have no no desire for anything. Nor does he want you to, nor does he keep you in jollity or in a spirit of laughter constantly, to the point of where like, oh, well, I mean, hey, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm good, right? I'm good. To where you lack the fear of him. And now you don't want to do the work. You don't follow the dietary laws to the best of your ability. You don't keep none of the holy days. Okay. You don't do anything. You don't turn around and take what he gave you and you lie and utilize it to feed his sheep. What does Yahushua say? If you love me, feed my sheep. This is feeding right here. This is the bread right here you need. All right. This is what we can do. This ain't about setting up a table or bringing out turkey out there and all that crap. What we know some of these groups out there are doing. Okay. Because Esau is all about that. Esau is all about, you know, uh, he's all about the show. He's all about the show. I'm gonna do bad things, but at the same time, I'm gonna just give you some free stuff. Okay. And we don't fall for that. We don't do that. That's why you're not gonna see tables around our camp offering cold boiled waters and stuff, and then drink water, eat cookies, and hear the gospel. And I've thought many times of experimenting with that just to show, just to bring out a point where, normally where I go under that tree out there, right on the side of that very busy road out here, set up a table, put a sign that it says, hear the gospel, and get a free cookie or a gift. And I can guarantee you a bunch of cars will pull up there to go grab that. All right, because people are genuinely retarded and absolutely useless. And I say that from the bottom of my heart, I believe the majority of people are just completely and utterly fucking useless. Okay, it doesn't matter what tribe you're from, but especially our people, because our people always have to see a sign. They always have their hands out for fucking double on free to be a freeloader. Okay, and Yamcha had the same issue too, where they only came around, to be fed, and he called their ass out, man. They wanted to be fed. They ain't there to hear the word. They don't go crap. All right. But again, going back, it's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power. You don't want to be that guy or that girl, okay, that the Lord Shema is going to deal with harshly. You don't want to be that guy or girl, okay? And we're seeing that's going to be taking place, all right? Because why? Our people trust in Esau. In fact, let's go into the book of Psalms 20. The book of Psalms 20. And let's go to the book of Psalms 20, and we're going to go. Let me think here for a second. Start verse 7. Let's go to verse 7. Let's see here. All right. So let's bring this out here. Again, I will share the screen. And this is the book of Psalms. This is the book of Psalms 20, and start verse 7 reads, some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our power, which is Yahweh. Okay. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Say, Lord, Yahweh Shemashah, let the King hear us when we call. Okay. So we don't trust in chariots, and we don't trust in earthly kings. We trust in our power, Yahweh Shemashah. All right. Now, throughout the week, we bring out, what's going on out there. Some brothers get like the TikTok videos that they bring out, with these jakes out there that they despise this word. They hate it. They really do. They really do. And a lot of it has to do with the fact is that they can get over the fact that Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man, will go into slavery. He has to be brought down. He will be judged and he will go into slavery. And we're going to be the ones ruling over him. And they're thinking we're going to be ruling over him because when they look at us, they see us in our weak form right now. Some of us are short, some of us get a little height. Most of us are medium, some good looking, some whatever the case is like that. Whatever the world think of you, their standard is. Who cares? But at the end of the day, they look at because you don't have a big, cathedral, where you have it filled up with thousands of people and you walk out there and people are holding your robe behind you like you're some majestic king. And you have rows of cars parked out there, and you can talk about your trip you took to Bali or you took to Dubai or whatever case of that, which Dubai is going to get destroyed. Okay? Dubai is going to get destroyed. They're a target right now for Iran. They don't respect the words. They don't respect it. So they trust in only what they see look glamorous. They like the flash, the light. They like those things. Okay. So that's why they can't comprehend, okay, that the power that the world called God and Jesus set up men that the world wouldn't consider to be prophets, men that don't have no big status in society, nor that we want. Personally, myself, I speak for it. Okay. When I was in the world, I held positions, the high titles, and was in charge of budgets in the millions and those things like that. It meant nothing to me. All I cared about was that every 2 weeks I got my check, quite frankly. And that's an honest truth right there. All right. I didn't really care about it, but I did want a certain, way of living and a certain income. Okay. In this ministry, titles don't mean anything. Now we do exalt each other, elder this, brother that, priest this, bishop this, apostle this and apostle that. All right. Brother this, brother that. We do exalt and we encourage each other. Shalom, Khan, you might, some might even give you a thumbs up if they feel like it. It's not done enough, quite frankly. It isn't. But it is what it is. And we walking in this flesh and struggling against the evils that come and try to plague our mind. But we don't trust in Esau. And that's the thing right there, Jake, is you need to understand this. In fact, let's look for another scripture here, and get near the close out of this. And I'm going to look into, I had a little note here. Let's go into Jeremiah. Um, let's go to Jeremiah 50. I want to go to Jeremiah 50. I like to bring this out. And then we're going to close. Jeremiah 50 and verse 22. Let's go to verse 22. Start verse 22. It reads, "The sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation amongst the nation?" And that desolation is basically, here was a place that was looked at as being the preeminent, the place to be. You held an American passport, that was something, man. If you were from America, you go overseas, that was something. Even as a Jake, because while people will judge you by the color of your skin, look at you, okay, black, but you're from America. So that was associated that you might be more well off compared to, like, say, someone from Nigeria or someone from Sudan or something like that. Okay. So there was a bit of a pride thing that you would have when you go overseas. For those of you who had the ability or who have traveled, to multiple countries, who've been to the Middle East, who've been to Africa, who's been to Europe, et cetera, et cetera. All right. But now what you're seeing right now is people are not looking at that. And especially if you're an Edomite. Because who's the face of the devil? The face of the devil really is Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man. And people are starting to see that. They're starting to become, even Edomites are becoming just sick and tired of this place starting wars. Every time the earth try to get into peace and countries can trade and go into, feel happy and feel good, America goes and drop a bomb somewhere. They constantly feel threatened. Doesn't that sound like how these doggone Karens and these whatever these Karens, these male and female Karens, they feel threatened, and so they call the cops because they know they can get you will get beat down. Jake, we as people have to hold our temper. We have to hold our head constantly when dealing, especially dealing with these Edomites. Okay, because these are very, how do I want to call it? Very passive aggressive, and they're very there's a word I want to use, but either way, they're trigger happy and they're ready to play the victim. And that's what America is. America is about playing the victim. There's always somebody that's looking to destroy them. Somebody's looking to harm them. Nobody's doing that. But that's just that's the motto of the so-called white man, particularly the ones over here in Great Babylon, America. It continues, says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast no more. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai. I mean, when you talk about that word striving, is it really going up against, the laws, okay, the things that were set up? If the laws are followed on this earth or followed by the so-called white man who claimed to be the children of the Lord, okay, you will have the problems that you have. But this man goes and make national holidays of sodomy, make national holidays of pedophilia, make national holidays, okay, of abominable things, all in his self-glory to praise him. He wouldn't have changed the image. Our people have nothing in the world have no problem worshiping a so-called white man, but they have a problem worshiping someone that looks like a so-called black man. There's a stigma to it, but that's okay. This man has strived against the Lord Habashmashai. He's a persecuted and oppressed people, which is us. Okay, and he shows no sign of repentance or humility, and he's not going to. The Lord doesn't want him to. Continue says, the Lord Yahweh had opened his armory and had brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Okay. So the Lord Yahweh is going to bring the great destruction, the great Babylon, America. So the question is, Jake, do you want to be part of that destruction? I certainly don't. I know the brothers them out there don't. I think y'all underestimate exactly how really bad it's going to get. And it's going to be so gruesome to the point to where the Lord has to dispatch the angel, okay, the archangel Michael, to save us. We are considered nothing to these people. Nothing. Yes, so you Jake's out there, what are you doing right now? I could pull up a screen right now and just show a bunch of doggone so-called Black people, Latinos, Native Americans, especially Blacks and Latinos, so to speak, Hispanics, celebrating the Easter Bunny. In fact, take a look at this. Let's take a look at the local news here. You want to see something? Just so you know, I'm not just some asshole, just saying things just to say something. All right, let's go to Google News here. And let's go to local. Okay, what do you see there? El Paso to host Easter egg extravaganza carnivals at recreation centers across city. This is what a grown-ass adults is taking their kids, man. Take a look at this shit, man. Look at this. This is across the city, and I'm doing local. Extravaganza carnivals at recreation centers across the city. Okay, look at this. All this is a list of where they're gonna be doing this doggone, freaking doggone, Easter egg hunt. It's insane. Okay, and so what you have is a very feminized society that's run by women. Men are not stepping up to take leadership, and if they do, they bow very quickly to a doggone woman because they themselves have the spirit of a damn woman. But this is what our people prefer to do. They prefer to go chase a bunny rabbit that's supposed to be lays colorful eggs while we're in the week of the Passover where the Mashiach, who were ignorantly called Jesus Christ, gave up his life. And do you know why they don't care? Because as far as they're concerned, he died for everybody for the forgiveness of sin. So be as thou will. Boy, and they got a rude awakening coming for them. So Lord willing, the elect has been edified at the close of a given all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash. Shalom.